Hello, this is Power Pantaloons podcast. My name is Tanya. I'm your holistic cancer specialist, wellness specialist. Yes, let's say it right. And today we have with us special guest Korri. Korri, welcome to the show.
Morning. Thank you.
Korri is the first cancer survivor that we're interviewing, and she's going to tell her story, and we're going to talk about it. Would you like
Excellent.
to start?
Sure. First of all, I would like to say good morning and that I just got my 5-year cancer-free uh, diagnosis,
Amazing.
and I feel elated, like um, grateful, just incredibly grateful that I'm here and can share this with you. But I'm going to start at the beginning. Um, so my stepdaughter had a lump in her breast in her early 20s, and we were really concerned about that. So she um, was going through a biopsy, and it prompted me to check my own breast. And as a self check, I did find a lump, and I thought, nah, it's nothing. It'll go away. And and as we went through this with her, she was fine, and it was just a cyst. My lump persisted. And so I called the doctor, and he thought it was just a cyst too. Good. And went and had a sonogram. Well, uh, that was kind of a hard thing. They really wanted to give me a mammogram, and my mother had had breast cancer. So I knew from her experience that breast cancer was better detected with a sonogram rather than a mammogram. So,
So why do they give mammograms?
I'm not sure. I think it's an insurance thing, and I don't know who likes the breast squish like that. I don't, can't
Nobody.
express. But she she had told my mom had told me, with that, and so I insisted on the sonogram. Um, the gal who did the sonogram, it took a little time to get the doctor's orders worked out. But we went in, and I was laying there and getting the biopsy and the sonogram, and I could tell. I mean, it was just very angry. Um, I have a biochemistry degree, and I had seen things like this, you know, but when you see it for yourself, it's pretty sobering. But I knew, and she didn't want to tell me at the time, but I knew. I got the results back, and sure enough, called. Like, actually, my doctor didn't call me, I called him, and he got on the phone, and that's when my world just went silent. He told me I had cancer, and it was, um, boy, everything was just gone. All I could think about was, oh boy, you know, what am I facing? And I just kind of went blank silent. I didn't even tell my husband face to face. I just told him in a text.
My goodness.
And when he got home that night, we talked about it and called the insurance company the next day, and they recommended an oncologist and a surgeon. I lucked out. I really did. I'm incredibly grateful because she was a great oncologist and he was a great surgeon. So, after the biopsy, I got the results back, and my oncologist told me that it was HER2 positive, which is aggressive, and I was also low markers for the receptors. and uh, they were like dangerous because with the low receptors, it was very hard to treat. So then I went and saw the surgeon and uh, didn't know what to do because it was only in my left side, but um, I never wanted to go through this again, so I elected to have the double mastectomy rather than just the single one or a lumpectomy.
Yeah.
Um, so I made the appointment to get on the surgical schedule, and they were going to do the reconstruction at the same time and gave me another doctor to call. However, his schedule was so booked that he couldn't get me in. Oh boy. So I had to make the decision, and no offense to anybody else, but I wasn't waiting for someone to have their nose job when my life was on the line. So
Absolutely.
I decided just to go ahead and have the mastectomy without the reconstruction. The surgery was something else. All right, so when you have breast cancer, I'll tell you now, you're going to go in, they're going to stick needles in your breast and five shots, 5 shots of a um, uh, electromagnetic something that adheres to the cancer cells so that they can tell where it is when they do the mastectomy. But there's no anesthetic, there's no lidocaine, there's no nothing. And they put these shots directly in your nipple. Hurts like hell. So be sure you take your mental strength with you.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah. But that morning, I couldn't eat anything or anything like that. And again, my mom, having gone through this, recommended what they call it's like a surgical camisole cami. And I ran down to the uh, women's breast cancer, blah, 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 to see if I could get one of these camis that morning. And I walk in and she goes, well, you need an appointment. I'm like, well, that's not going to work for me. I can't do that. She says, well, when's your surgery? And I said, oh, in about 2 hours. She's like, oh my God, and you're here now? And I said, I'm fine. The surgery's fine. But between the time I got the diagnosis, the time I met with the surgeon, and the time that I met with the oncologist and the time of the surgery was about a week.
Wow.
And in that week's time, I looked in the mirror and said, I love you and I'm going to fight for you. And it was hard,
The
really
hardest thing you've ever
hard.
done, Korri. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah. I realized at that moment in my life that I was a very valuable woman and that I meant a lot to a lot of people, but I meant a lot to myself. And it was, I'm going to fight. And so during that week, that moment that you come to realization and decision making, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You know, I'm going to eat the right foods. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to have the healthiest attitude and I am going to fight. So in the mornings, I would meditate. I would visualize this white light of healing just coming like an ocean, hitting me in the chest and splashing through every ounce of my body, just healing light
Amazing.
and just going through my body and cleaning out any cancer cells. I gave up alcohol. I gave up sugar. Um, I
Are you still sugar free?
Yes, yes,
Nice. I'm working on that myself.
yeah.
It's hard.
Cancer feeds on sugar, so you need
Yes.
eliminate that. The other thing that you have to do is the alkaline water, and because it can't survive in an alkaline environment. And so if you do the, I don't know, 9+. Oh shoot, I'm so sorry that went off. I'm in my studio, and that is the compressor for my sandblaster.
I didn't even hear it.
Okay. Anyway, so there was a you know change in just a week, and I think that's most big decision that you make for yourself. You know, I'm going to do this. If I'd been a homeopath for 30 years, and here I was, facing chemotherapy, which I did not want to do. And and um my puppy keeps wanting to tug at my sweater. Um Having to make a decision that I was going to put chemicals in my body, that was very difficult too. But
Yes.
hmm, so we'll go back to the morning, and I have the cami that gave me this great pillow. It was a wonderful pillow. Loved that pillow. And I was ready to go. So I had the shots in my breast, and I can tell you, if you take a deep breath and as you're exhaling, let them put the shot in, it will minimize your pain. So you you'll be a pincushion when you go through all this. You get a lot of shots. Um, so
And all the
we'll,
blood work.
yeah,
All the blood work.
yeah. Oh yeah, we're not there yet, but boy, is that a thing. So the surgeon wheeled me into the operating room, and it was freezing, and it was a lot of white light, and I just put it in God's hands. I am going to make it through this, and I'm going to be fine, and I know it. And I took a deep breath and said, thank you. And off I went to sleep. Woke up just fine. Um, my breasts were gone, and I felt fine. I didn't care. It was weird. A lot of people were attached, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm here.
I yeah. I have told my husband, I said if breast cancer is a thing, um, I'm not fucking around. Both of them are going. I'm not playing that. I
Exactly right. And I've had friends that and other people that were very attached to their breasts and their identity as a woman. And
that's a thing.
is a
That is
thing.
a real thing.
Um, I have a girlfriend going through it right now, and I can tell you, I just wasn't. And maybe it's, uh, I don't know why, but it my identity came from more of who I am, which is not my looks and not my breasts and not my hair. It was who I am as a woman in my heart. And that was all that was important.
That's amazing. While I was going through my journey, I was very focused on kicking cancer's butt. I was bald as a cue ball, and I dealt with my feminine identity crisis afterwards, after I had finished all my treatment. And somebody was like, like your womb tried to murder you. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then I spent the next 5 years trying to, not trying, rebuilding my relationship with the divine feminine. So that you didn't have to experience that, that's beautiful. Like, that's rare, I think.
Well, I didn't realize my strength at that moment. Now I'm looking back at it and going, dang, but at that time, I looked at it as I was just taking care of business. I was doing what I had to do, and I really wasn't caring about much else. So, where are we? We woke up from the surgery. Um, I was in a lot of pain. It's not easy. Um, but they brought me my comfort food, which was pot roast and potatoes. And
Potatoes are the best. They are the most comforting of the foods, I think, for a lot of people.
yes, and I made it through the night, and um, everything was good. And then they put the cami in it. And the cam, when you have your breasts removed, they're going to give you 4 drains, and they're 2 in each breast. And these drains are cumbersome. So you, the cami holds everything tight, your bandages, all of that tight, but it also has pockets that you can put these drains in. So you're wearing this cami and you're bandaged up, but nobody even knows. It's kind of great. Um, you'll need to wear it for a few weeks, but the drains stay in little over a week. And then, you get through and they take the bandages off and they take the drains off, and you're looking at your chest and it's different. Like, okay. The breast cancer people will also give you prosthetics and bras that you can put them in. So you don't, I mean, and they're heavy, and you touch them and they're like real boobs. It's kind of cool. I'm like, okay. And you can get them in different sizes, so you can play around with it to see if you want big ones, little ones, Dolly Parton ones, you can kind of do that. It's kind of fun. I did it anyway. I'm like, okay, we're gonna try this out.
I mean, if you have to go through the shit sandwich, you might as well have a couple of perks, right? Like,
So when we get to that, I'll tell you when. Okay. So within 10 days of surgery, chemo started. So after the surgery, where I had the one lump, between in the 1 week's time, or the time between the sonogram and the surgery, I had 3 tumors. It really was spreading quickly. And I got the results back from, uh, they took out 14 lymph nodes and no cancer in the lymph nodes. I caught it in time. Yeah. So if I had waited for the
mammogram.
this plastic surgeon, who knows what would have happened? That was pretty much hard. Um, get to chemo. Okay. So they call this the red devil. It's adriamycin and Cytoxan. And you walking into a cancer room, and there's all these people in there, all hooked up to infusion machines. And that's when you have your first pity party because you don't want to be there.
Nope.
And I went through uh, the first round in tears. I did cry for that one. So you're watching this huge bag, IV bag, empty into your arm, and they hadn't put the port in yet. I didn't know that. So if you're going to have surgery and have the breast removed, make sure they put the port in at that time. This adriamycin and the Cytoxin is called the Red Devil, and you get it once every 3 weeks for 4 months. And as you're getting through, this infusion is coming in. I didn't feel so awful. And the next day, I went to bed. And 4 days, my hair fell out. Okay, so you're looking at this short, beautiful hair now, nice and thick, right? I had waist length blonde hair, and I'm watching my hair just go. So, but it's not only your hair on your head going, it's everywhere. You'll lose all your hair. The nice thing is you don't have to shave your legs or your underarms because it's gone.
See, I had not that. I had not that. So like when I knew in advance I was going to lose my hair, so I rocked a mohawk and then we shaved my head and then I went inpatient for my chemo and I came home and I took a shower and I had a tribble in my hand. Like I lost all my genital hair because like I knew I was going to lose my hair, but I didn't know I was going to lose my hair. But I kept the stupid mustache and the random spiky leg hair and the so like it's so weird how for some people it's everything and for others it's part. It's so random.
It is an individual experience all the way around. I mean, everybody will tell you one thing, and yet what you experience and this experience is very, very different for everybody. Your body chemistry reacts differently. Um, I think too, because I had been a homeopath for 30 years, I had a very clean system. And so it really hit me pretty hard. Uh, my mom came over, and she's a hairstylist, and she shaved my head for me. And I thought I looked pretty cute. Me and Sinead. But I allowed myself to have a little time. I, when I was coaching, I used to tell the kids, okay, here's your 2 minutes of pity party. And you have 10 seconds, go. And you can complain all you want. And I gave myself that pep talk. Here you go. You're going to have 2 minutes, and that's it. And I limited to how I would entertain what I was going through and all the feelings I was going through. I, it was just imperative to me to stay positive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So no hair, um, infusions of the Red Devil, and went to bed, and I stayed there for about 2.5 weeks, and it really just laid me out. Uh, Comfort food was patty melt, popsicles, but I walked in to the kitchen, and my husband was cutting some red pepper, and the smell. Oh my goodness. You will have the most heightened sense of smell, and you smell like a dog. You can smell everything. And it's like, what's that? Ooh, it's so funny. But heightened sense of smell. And yes, you will probably lose some weight because you can't eat anything that doesn't smell good. But you need to stay healthy. My oncologist recommended taking glutamine, which is an amino acid, building blocks of protein, so that, I wasn't,
Starving
losing
to death.
mass. Yeah. So I still take it to this day. Actually, I like it. Um, but the 12 weeks of the Cytoxin and Adriamycin was debilitating, very much so. I would stay into bed 2.5 weeks just as I was feeling, like up and I could do something again. Bam, hit
Right,
again.
right back in for another treatment.
Mhm. Um, Careful not to eat anything that was stone fruit or could have been sprayed with anything. Very careful to wear a mask. You do not have an immune system with this, so you can't catch anything. Let me shut the door. The dogs are barking.
No, you have to be real careful about what you're doing.
Yeah, very, very careful. Don't go anywhere that you don't know is safe. And maybe the pandemic taught us that too, but this was prior to the pandemic. So, I'd go in and hat. And the cool thing is that you don't have any hair, so you get all these fun wigs. You can be a redhead one day, you can be a brunette, you can be a blonde, you can have short hair, you can have spiky hair. So have fun with that. The other thing I liked was tying everything around, um, trying that out, trying different hats,
Yeah,
you know.
yes. Like if you have to go through this horrible experience, adding levity to it, I absolutely I showed up everywhere and I had rainbow wigs. There was all the colors, all the styles. I went absolutely buck wild with it. I showed up for my first round of radiation in a Barbie pink I Dream of Jeannie wig, like it with the bouffant and everything, head to toe in pink. And the nurse behind the counter tried to take me back up to the fifth floor, which is the psych ward. I was like, no, I'm here for radiation.
Hmm.
She was very embarrassed. I'm like, it's
Well, if you're a Sex and the City fan, Samantha, you can Google it, her cancer speech, and she is a warrior. And you sit there and she pulls this wig off and she says, and she just says, this is what's happening to me. And she becomes real at that moment. And I sat with a girlfriend and she was like, blah, 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 blah. And I remember peeling off my wig and saying, oh, Terry, this is hard. It is hard because it's not easy. You
no,
just have to be tougher.
it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it's hard.
Hands
And
down, hardest thing I ever did.
and you look at it back at it and you think, you know, that conversation I had with myself in the mirror that day is what fortified me and strengthened me to say, mm-mm. And as we have all faced really hard things in our lives, you know, that strength that bubbles up, that's your womanhood. That's who you are.
Yeah,
You know, that's the person you are. And so you definitely have that conversation with yourself just to make sure you know that what's really important in life isn't things, isn't your hair, it isn't anything. It's who you are. And to me, that was life changing because at after going through all of this, I don't sweat the small stuff. I remember always to come from love, laugh, smell the flowers, have fun. Nothing else is important. Nothing. You know, I'm
Live
not
in
going to fight
gratitude.
anybody. I, mm-mm.
Yep. Wake up every morning with gratitude in your heart. Have grace for people because you don't know what they're fighting. You have no idea what demons they're dealing with. Just have grace for people.
No. And it's, you made it through, and as you go through hard times, it changes you, but I think it changes you for the better. It's a lesson in life about really being real and genuine and kind, understanding, reach out a hand, type thing. Not ever again would I want to go through it, but I know that I can face anything, anything,
Yeah,
and I'll be fine.
absolutely.
So my affirmation every morning is I am well, I am healthy. I am part of just the universe of love, and that's it. I am grateful. I am just incredibly appreciative.
Yeah, yeah. I had a similar like you talked to yourself. My friend sat me down and she's like, today's the day that you are allowed to be upset, scream, ask God why, and all of that. Tomorrow you're getting up and you're kicking cancer's ass, and I'm not hearing any negative. And I'm like, you're right. And what I did every day is when I got up, the first thing I did was I changed my underwear and I visualized that I was putting on Wonder Woman's panties because Wonder Woman doesn't die. And that was my physical representation of actively deciding to live every day. And it's a choice. It's a choice. Having the right mindset, telling the universe that you plan on staying and that you will fight for that right, it puts you in a better spot to live through it.
Yeah. You know, they, when I was at the breast ladies with breast cancer, she says to me, "You'll beat this. You have the right attitude." And I thought, okay, you know, but as you're going through chemotherapy, you're going to have blood tests every week. You're going to have shots to boost your white blood count every week. If you have those, take it with Benadryl so that you don't get the or Claritin, sorry. Claritin, it helps with the bone pain. Um, if you're when you're going through, don't take the liquid Benadryl because it gives you this leg sweep thing. Have them give you the Benadryl in the pill. You know, but then again, it's different for everybody. But that's how it was for me. Um, the blood tests. Uh, so the lymph nodes were out of my left arm, so every single thing was in the right arm. I looked like a pincushion. It hurt. Um, there's little tricks to thing. That pillow that they gave me was like a backwards pillow that you could put your arms around, and it gave you pressure on your chest, and that was a godsend. but there's all kinds of little things.
Right. Like the power port. I didn't have mine in until after my second round of chemo because when my oncologist asked me if I wanted one, I said no, and he didn't explain what it was for. I didn't know. And that was my fault because I didn't ask questions, but he
Mhm.
should have actually told me, like,
Yeah.
what do you mean no? No, you need this. Like, but he was a wonderful oncologist. He was absolutely the best. But like that was a thing that so after my first round of chemo, I had no veins. So then we had to schedule putting the
Yep.
PowerPoint in because
Well, they
yeah.
put the port in and it went through just fine. Have them use the lidocaine spray when they do it, so that you can't fail it. But mine turned, and I had to have it put in a second time.
Oh God.
So in 2 weeks' time, I had two port surgeries. Um, but that port, you know,
Right, right. And
do
for
it.
each kind of surgery, like when you go into the hospital, you're gonna want to have button down pajamas
Yes,
because
yes, in the front, do that.
because that's the only way you're going to be able to manage with your port and your IVs and your stuff like and nobody told me that in advance but that's crucial button down pajamas like it makes all the difference
Yeah.
and asking your doctor if it's okay for you to take stool softeners the night before your surgery so like because they give it to
So,
you afterwards, but you're already on all the opioids and you're dehydrated and now you can't get poop out of your butt. Like
well, and
it's
that's
little things like
exactly
that.
right. So, but the magnesium citrate or citrate, not sure what
I
pronouncing
think
it,
citrate.
citrate. Um, take that. It's natural muscle relaxing for your colon because yes, the chemo will give you terrible constipation. I mean, it's awful. Yeah,
Yeah. And you
you,
have to be hydrated all the time, especially if you're going in for your lab work.
that's a
Yeah.
very important thing to say because I'm not really one to drink a lot of water. Um, never liked it.
70% 70% of Americans are constantly dehydrated. So
Yeah.
so you have that you start with that and then you the chemo the chemo does such horrible things to your veins.
Yeah.
You don't have any
Be,
veins. They can't find them. It and
be
all
sure
you have to
you
do.
eat something sticky like oatmeal or and bring crackers with you. You will need something in your stomach for sure. Um, I was nauseous on occasion, but I wasn't vomiting from it. Uh, I think because I um, ate the oatmeal and it sticks to your insides pretty good and it fortify you through it. But I think one of the hardest things, you can see if it was for you, was all the people in the cancer room and just, you know, it can be daunting. Uh, you're trying to stay positive and you're watching everybody else because they're like you, no hair, skinny, you know, and you're thinking, mm-mm, 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 mm, no, 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 I don't want to look. And, I'm going to close my eyes and wish everybody health and happiness and just keeping that mindset.
I didn't have that, Corey.
You
My
didn't?
chemo, my chemotherapy was inpatient. I had to go inpatient because I had to have what's called rescue drugs before, during, and after my chemo. And if you are hooked up to the IV for a certain number of hours, they have to keep you inpatient. So my I never had that. But I went to Gilda's Club, which is a support, and I went there, and everybody that was there was negative. All they wanted to do was bitch and moan about their diagnosis, and nobody wanted to talk about how to positively support themselves. And I was like, I cannot stay here. I wanted to be part of the community, and I wanted to help others while I was walking my journey, but I couldn't put myself in that environment. So I understand, and I just, yeah.
Yeah. Close your eyes and just uh, I don't know. My chemo took the first round of infusions took about 6 hours. The second round that lasted 18 months took 8 hours once a week. And that's when I would bring things to read. Uh, I'm, I wouldn't watch what was going on with everybody. I, occasionally would talk to some people, but you're right. If they wanted to be negative, that's just not helpful.
Nope, not at
Yeah.
all.
I have a girlfriend going through it right now, and you know, I'm I'm kind of harsh with her actually. I'm like, put your big girl panties on, your Wonder Woman panties, because
You have to.
you have to,
You have to. You
and you
have to
have to.
do that. Because you love her so much, you have to be firm with her and tell her to put her big girl panties on, because this is big girl activity, and you have to come with all of it because you
No,
need it
and your negativity is going,
to drag you down.
it's just going to make it's bad enough,
It
and
could
it
it
don't
could
make it worse.
Having the right mindset makes or breaks it. Like, being negative could could kill you. Literally could kill you through this journey.
Well, there's a I don't know, there's these flashcards by Louise Hay, and I would look at, and yeah, here, I still have them. And there's things that you look at, and every day you you say to yourself these wonderful things that are going to happen and what you're going to look forward to, and how can I learn from this experience, and how can I change for the better. Um, how can I be the best me? How can I do something with this that makes it, I don't know, makes it bearable, makes it worthwhile? And, when I got my diagnosis this week that I'm 5 years cancer free, I went to Trader Joe's. I don't know if you have Trader Joe's there, but
I do.
I'm in Trader Joe's, and I'm grocery shopping, and I'm coming out, and she goes, "You're just glowing." And I said, "Yeah, today was a very good day. You know, it is a good day. And I hope I have that glow forever."
The 5 year cancerversary was a thing. It was a real thing, and cake and all. Yeah, like, you have to celebrate, and I do it. And annually, I celebrate the cancerversary, and everybody does it different. Like, I actually celebrate it from diagnosis day. Others celebrate it from, surgery day, and others celebrate it from end of treatment. And that's personal. Like, you get to pick it. It's your journey, it's your story. You get to decide. It's just easier for me to do it from diagnosis day. And from when I was diagnosed to when I had my surgery was about 6 weeks. And when they took my uterus out, there was over 10 pounds of cancer in it. And all of my lymph nodes came back fine. They took out five, and they were all fine. And I also had a very aggressive cancer. It was a carcinosarcoma of the uterus, which is actually two cancers. Fun, love, right? And it was stage 3, phase 2. It was super aggressive.
So answer for me, did when you went through your surgery, did it change how you felt as a female?
Not until after I had completed all of my like treatments, um, because I was so in the zone of we're fixing this, we're beating cancer's ass, that after I was released back into nature, that's when I had the oh shit moment where I really felt very disconnected to the divine feminine and had to reclaim that for myself. And that took many years, actually.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I remember being in the bathroom and um, I had no breasts, I had no hair, and I walked into the mirror and all these spots started coming out on my face. I lost it. I lost it. I thought, oh, you know, I can deal with everything else. I cannot deal with, my skin looking like this. It did go away, but
Yeah,
some people get like a gray cast or something. I got spots, and and I don't know. There's going to be something.
it breaks you for a minute.
Yeah, there will be
And it's
something.
different for everybody what it is. And it's always something little and dumb. Like you're a warrior through all of the really hard stuff, but some little thing just knocks you on your ass. But you've been taking this whole journey and you're kicking cancer's ass, and some random little thing like spots on your face makes
Yeah.
you. I I went camping for a weekend and I came home and my sister opened the door to let me in and she looked at me, she was like, and I'm like, I have no eyebrows. I had lost my eyebrows over the weekend. Like it just like and it changed my face, but not enough to like it. So yeah, like little things.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. It's a little personal, but just,
But this has all been personal, girl.
yeah, well, um, I had horrible uh, effects with vaginal dryness. Horrible. And I had gone to see the gynecologist to see if I could get some supplements or something. It was awful. And I walk in, I'm beautifully dressed, but I have no hair, no eyebrows, no nothing. Woman, gynecologist. And she sat me down and said, without even looking at the parts, without an exam, she basically told me that I should just go to Victoria's Secret and buy some lingerie and get, my self-esteem back up.
That's insulting. That's insulting.
I, I, what? You know, I didn't, at first, it didn't even register how disrespectful, insulting, just horrible that
Uh-huh.
was. And as I'm digesting what she just said to me, I thought, look, lady, I am walking in here without any hair. I can't wear any makeup because of it just won't stick to my skin. I have spots, but I'm beautifully dressed and I am here. I am telling you about my most personal problem, and you're giving me,
You think Victoria's Secret's gonna fix that?
yeah. I thought, what makes you think I don't have self-esteem?
how about addressing the fact that anytime that you have some sort of uterine cancer or breast cancer, and the removal of the sex organs affects your hormones and absolutely will result in some sort of sexual dysfunction. I I didn't have dryness, but all of my nerve endings were cut, and orgasms were a problem. I didn't have an orgasm for 5 years after my surgery, and I never thought I was going to again. And
Oh,
at this point, having them is an act of fucking Congress. But I'm changing my mindset about it. I'm putting out there that they're easy, and so it's getting better because mindset really does do a lot. So I get it. What she said to you was disrespectful and very insulting. And quite frankly, exactly how the medical system operates.
what I thought, as a female gynecologist, how dare you? Really? How dare you? I guess maybe I don't know that I would have expected it from a man gynecologist, but okay, ladies, this is a real thing that happens when you go through chemotherapy. When I was talking to my oncologist about it, she now calls me and she says, "What did you use? How did this happen? That happened? What worked for you?" Because so many women were coming in with the same complaints. You're going to get neuropathy, you're going to get, all these things that are going to happen, but there's going to be something that happens very personal that, you know, and it's difficult to tell somebody. It's hard, and that's a
That's
very intimate, private thing.
and that's exactly why I'm talking to cancer survivors, because we need to talk about the fact that sexual dysfunction is part of the cancer journey. And because nobody's talking about it, it's not being addressed. And we can't, so we need to talk about it. So we need to be warriors again for the rest of the women that come behind us, so that they can expect this and have tangible uh, ways to manage and deal with it. Because right now it's just a shit show. Nobody knows what's going on, and you have to, like, it's very personal to talk about. It's super hard, but it's so important because nobody is talking about it.
Well, and it was amazing to me um, that there wasn't more information, you know, and
Yes.
I had, dryness everywhere. I mean, it just wasn't there, but it was everywhere and nothing was working. So if anybody wants to know, it's a supplement or a suppository called Bonafide, and it works. And it's just little, I don't know, about this big suppository of lubricant, and it takes a little while, but it works. It does work. It worked for me anyway. But everything, is back in working order, and my self-esteem is fabulous. I don't care. I I thought, well, if somebody thinks that your self-esteem is lacking, if honestly, if they think that that's happening, you know, be kind, because this is hard. It is not easy. And so many changes are happening. You know, it, the biggest thing as women we can do is reach out and be kind, helpful and understanding, you know, kind of like Piglet. I'll just sit with you, sweetie. You don't even need to talk to me. I'll just sit with you. You know,
Corey, I
this,
really, really appreciate you coming on and telling your story today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we connected. It's
Yes,
been a pleasure meeting you.
it's been a pleasure talking to you and hearing your story. And I really appreciate you sharing it with my audience. And I really appreciate you telling the hard parts.
You, you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.